Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play Batman Arkham City. Before we get back to tracking down Mr. Freeze, we're going to take some time and check out a couple of really nifty Easter eggs, including this one, which we passed by on the way into the steel mill earlier. That is Scarecrow's mask from Asylum. And we have another really good Scarecrow Easter egg, one that's incredibly well concealed, coming up right here on this nearby boat. This little barge drifting out in... Oh, we'll get into why this section of Amusement Mile is flooded. But first, we have a pretty hard... No, we don't, I guess. I guess that's not hard. It's City of Terror. That normally takes me a minute or two to get, because the security clearance on that's so high. But that unlocks a hatch in the barge. We go into first person. There are all sorts of roaches in glass cases being illuminated by UV rays. It's really spooky down here. So we can kind of surmise, given that this is adjacent to the mask and that symbol. I love that jump scare. We can surmise that Scarecrow is doing some research down here, and indeed, Falcone Shipping invoice for Dr. Crane for fear toxin. And this was also apparently delivered or provided by somebody named Mr. Fine. Mr. Fine refers to a dude named Sherman Fine, aka the Broker, who accommodates various Batman villains. Apparently he provided some of the ingredients for the fear toxin that was used in Arkham Asylum, which, remember, was floating out at sea in the Stinger at the end of Arkham Asylum.
Augmented reality training activated.
That's a really well-concealed Easter egg, the one on the barge. I love that one. There is an even more insanely well-hidden Easter egg in this game that we'll get to in due time. First, we're going to do the first of many AR flight missions. These are just some gliding training side missions. And if we do enough of them, we get that grapnel boost, which is key. So I'm going to probably do the rest of those off screen, but I wanted to show at least that they exist and how they work. They get more complex from there, and they get a little bit more challenging, but
the old GCPD
you get the idea, I think.
Building. Freeze must be using one of the old forensic labs. I've got to get in there.
What's stopping it? Door. It's shut tight.
So before we can even get in,
I'll blow their faces off if they try to get out.
he's gonna blow their faces off.
We just grab Freeze and take him back to the Joker.
Oh, I didn't get to do the ledge
Sounds like a
takedown.
plan. Anybody got anything
Before we get into the GCPD building where Freeze is apparently being held by Penguin,
harder and harder to get what you needed here.
we have to do a light Predator sequence, which things are actually lining up pretty well, as long as this dude doesn't turn around and alert everybody else. We can also knock them out a little bit quicker, but using the knockout smash to do it quicker will produce more noise and would probably alert them. So I'm going to set up some explosive gel here, and maybe we can take advantage of that. It depends on how they want to path around. These two, I don't think they actually go anywhere unless they are alerted by noise, so they might just stick there for a little bit. If I can glide down to him, this could go real smooth. Oh, and indeed it will. Hell yeah. They're none the wiser. I just want to make sure that I know that they're not going to turn around the next chance they get. So I think B will drop me. Yeah. We should be able to hit a double takedown. Cool, that went unusually well. Yeah, there are tons of Easter eggs in this game. I'm going to blow this anyway and go grab the Riddler trophy because why the fuck not? Yeah, all in that little span. There was the Mr. Fine, the Broker reference, the Scarecrow Easter eggs, both of them. There's a Maxi Zeus reference in the form of the Olympus building. One of the buildings around here has W. White emblazoned on it. For Warren White, who is the Great White Shark. I think I've talked about his storyline before, which gets really weird, but it's the complete destruction of this this white-collar criminal.
If I hack this radio, I'll be able to listen into all of Penguin's communications.
Like, it starts off with his sentencing, and the whole storyline just follows him being assaulted and assailed and gradually broken down inside of Arkham Asylum until he becomes the villain. So it's a cool making of origin story for a really obscure villain, the Great White Shark. And then it ends with, like, a crazy underground demon battle, and Azrael shows up and shit.
Good. Make sure it stays that way.
No problem.
Nope, this is not the corner. And I can't, like, slide along the wall and cover.
Boss wants this place held tight.
Penguin's thugs have got this room locked down tight. I need to find a different way in.
What the fuck? Okay, I guess he saw me from when I was peeking around the corner, and I broke cover. Not that that matters too much, but... because that's locked down. The guard who was facing the doorway there never actually turns his back until you get into the room this way. So this is our alternate entrance into this giant open room.
I've got a lovely one-armed mercenary up here just waiting to come down and teach you lot what it means to fail me. Shall I let him out of his cage?
This room gives me just
This is not good.
goosebumps of nostalgia. Because we're going to be back here a couple of times, and one of the times that we come back to this room is for something amazing.
Penguin's keeping track of his crew using heartbeat monitors. He'll know each time I take someone out. I need to move quickly.
I'm one man down. That's not good, is it? Still, I'm sure the rest of you will do your best not to disappoint me.
Oh, that's... shit, I should have checked to see if that guy had his back turned. It's... Combined with the shot that I took earlier, that's kind of ugly. This is looking a little bit, iffy.
What happened to you? How come you're up there?
No, even though you're kind of instructed that because of the heartbeat monitor, you need to move quickly, you don't actually need to. I'm just being sloppy.
Do about it. We're not scared of you.
It's not
Keep
actually
doing
that
this crap
urgent,
and we'll
though this
fight.
is a bit more of an elaborate Predator sequence than some of the ones we've gone up against so far. I think this is the first... Well, no, the one that we just did a couple of minutes ago should have been the first one, but we'll actually be able to see things like their heart rates and their kind of emotional statuses as we go on in this one. Oh god, I really, really was not expecting you to turn your back the moment I went to glide down. That was a quick batarang just to bowl him over so we can get out of here. Yeah, this is real sloppy. This is making up for the unusually smooth sequence I had earlier. As long as we're down to 2, that's not really a big deal. Oh, they're just firing randomly, I think, up at the gargoyle. There's a really smooth progression in how everything escalates and how, like, enemies gain new abilities and there are new types of enemies in both the regular brawler combat sequences and in the stealth ones. There's a really smooth pace to the rate at which enemies kind of adapt and get new stuff to take.
Don't come near me.
What? No. Come on now. Why would that not work?
Over here, I can...
That's not even me being sloppy. That's just the game being a little bit sloppy. Oh well.
I give up. Look at me.
All around, son. You better not
Where's
piss me off by
Freeze?
dying.
He's in the museum. Penguin's got him.
Kill you again. Cut that tongue out of your head, boy. I don't love people telling tales on me.
No. I'm sorry, Mr. Cobblepot. He made me tell him.
You can have it, Batman. I'm safe and sound here in my museum. Try and get me if you like. I've got plenty of surprises ready for you if you do. Starting right now.
That could have gone a little bit better. And we didn't even really interrogate that guy that hard. Like, Arkham City, they ramp up the interrogations to kind of absurd proportions. Then again, there's a lot of questionable, iffy shit in Arkham Asylum. Like, anything to do with even the interrogations I'm talking about that go way too far are tied back to the Batmobile. Like the ones where you have a dude's head underneath the revving tire.
Retrieved the cure from Mr. Freeze.
There were complications. Penguin has got his hands on Freeze and trapped me in the GCPD building.
You do realize that you will actually die if you don't get this cure soon.
Thanks for reminding me, Alfred. I'm in a police building. Cobblepot's obviously bribed some official into giving him the lock codes for the municipal structures. I'm downloading the unlock codes right now.
Oh, and my all-time favorite function of the Batmobile from Arkham City is its totally not lethal taser system where you slam into a dude going full speed in that thing, but you see a little arc of electricity shoot out and fling them out of the way, so it's like you ran that dude down in the Batmobile. No, he just got harmlessly tased, non-lethal. Batman doesn't kill. It's so fucking stupid. This, I believe, is going to take us all the way back across town.
Say, I told you it'd work. Blow the bridges, cut off the Cloud's forces. Easy. But Mr. Cobblepot, we're stuck too. So, we can't get back. And your point is? Well, it's just, you've left us over here with the Joker's crew. Try and take some of them down before you die, son. You bastard.
So let's talk a little bit about a story called No Man's Land. No Man's Land was a huge story event in Batman near, I think, the turn of the century is when it first came out, where it starts with a story called Cataclysm to set it up. Cataclysm is about an earthquake which ruins Gotham. And let me tell you about fucking Cataclysm. No Man's Land is a great follow-up, but Cataclysm is fucking stupid. Let me tell you about this dumbass story. And the earthquake just happens, right? It's the force of nature that you think it is.
Leave Cash and his pathetic team to die. They were never part of our mission.
Okay, that was terribly unimportant. And a side mission that I don't think we're gonna take part in. But anyway, it's the force of nature that you think it is. It's just an earthquake. But someone shows up, and that someone is Arnold Wesker, aka the ventriloquist. You know, the dude with the Chicago-style gangster ventriloquism dummy, Scarface. Wesker goes around using an alias in this. He calls himself the fucking Quake Master, which is already dumb. And he convinces people that he caused the earthquake, and that he's like, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again if you don't give me $100 million. And everyone figures out it's him because it's Arnold Wesker, and he's fucking terrible, and he is the least capable person of maintaining a secret alias ever. Because you see, he can't pronounce the letter B. So deep does his ventriloquism gimmick go that he is completely unable to pronounce the letter B. And everyone is like, huh, this Quake Master guy sure is going out of his way not to use the letter B in sentences. That's weird. Oh, that's because it's a ventriloquist. And he's full of shit and he didn't cause the earthquake. Oh, okay. And then he goes to jail. Oh, and I think that's one of the first times, like, in that era that Scarface is sentient? Yeah, there's some dumb shit going on there. By the way, the Quake Master, Arnold Wesker calling himself the Quake Master is not the first time that name has been used in DC Comics. He's a pre-existing DC villain, which is even dumber somehow. Actually, I'm pretty sure he also originated as a Batman villain. His gimmick is that he got really pissed off because a hurricane ruined an apartment that he designed. He's an architect. So he uses some kind of stupid super jackhammer to cause earthquakes. Wow, that's dumb. Anyway, No Man's Land. No Man's Land is kind of brilliant. for all of the shit that precedes it with Cataclysm, it is a brilliant follow-up to that story. And it's about Gotham being in ruins and evacuated by the government, and they try to reclaim Gotham and rebuild it and start to repopulate it, let people move back in.
Turf, you freak. I'm gonna cut you up into tiny pieces for breaking in here.
Oh yeah, the new knife enemy type enemies. They also introduced a new mechanic, which is blade dodge, which was not in Asylum. Anyway, they try to rebuild and get people back in their homes, but while everyone is evacuated, various gangs have divvied up the city, and it's complete chaos inside. It's a really cool, tense storyline, and it actually goes places for a while. By the way, this is why that gate's shut. And that serves as a big inspiration for Arkham City here, where a chunk of the city is sectioned off, and it's a no man's land within Gotham. Sectors of it are controlled by distinct gangs, headed up by noteworthy Batman villains, and so on.
I don't think I want you breaking into my little home, Batman.
Something's blocking communication back to the Batcave. Penguin must be using military-grade communication disruptors. The only way to crack this security is to destroy them.
So there's a side quest or something of the like in here called Seismic Disturbances, which actually references No Man's Land, and that's why Amusement Mile is flooded the way it is. And there's also a sign that says No Man's Land in the Catwoman trailer that you can see briefly, but it got removed in the final game because it was too on the nose to be a reference, I guess. Wow, that guy went right for the gun case. That's the alarm that you're hearing, or that you heard, you have to watch out for. It's that green case. Don't want one of them getting their hands on a gun. And I really like that. I like the pool of storylines that they take inspiration from, or that they base their games around. Rocksteady, that is. Because they could just do like First Year, or Long Halloween, or Killing Joke, like some of the most iconic stories and some of the most well-known. And it's not that I don't love like the Long Halloween or the Killing Joke or whatever. They're remarkable and iconic for a reason, but I love that they pull from like Arkham Asylum was based on a serious house on Serious Earth. This one's heavily inspired by No Man's Land, and there's another big influence we'll get into more later on. I just love that they go a little bit off the beaten path for storylines.
I'll need to destroy all three to shut it down.
And that they're not just rehashing the most popular stories and like the biggest origin stories as well. One of many reasons I find Origins to be super disappointing, on top of the fact that it's a buggy, shitty mess. It does have Firefly in it, and I kind of appreciate that. Anyway, let's first just start this off. Start this party right. And we'll proceed to get to the next two of these beacons next time. Thank you for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one, y'all.